Hey everyone, this is Zach with PC Simplest, and today we are discussing some more command prompt basics that everybody should probably know. Just getting into IT, or if you're already in IT, maybe you don't know some of these things, but you should know them. And today we are specifically going to be talking about Traceroute and running programs as an administrator from the command prompt, which does come in use sometimes, and I actually use that very frequently at my job. So here we go. So the first thing that we're going to talk about is we are going to go ahead and just talk about Traceroute. And what is Traceroute? Well, let's open up our command prompt. All right, so the first thing that we need to do is type in Tracert, which is Tracert, and you will often hear people refer to doing a traceroute as a Tracert. They say, hey, do a Tracert to this URL or this server. So if you ever hear that term, somebody's doing a traceroute. So if we do Tracert, and I'm just going to do lulzbot.com, which is the company that makes my 3D printer. Check out those videos. But anyway, we'll do Tracert, lulzbot.com, and hit enter. So now what's going to happen is it's going to go through all of the different routers that from my starting point to the end point of lulzbot.com. And you'll see the 192.168.1.1. That is my home router, my personal router. And then it goes off to the next closest router from there, which is in the area here. And then it goes off to Mendota, Illinois, to Chicago, Illinois, Elmhurst, Illinois, another location, Illinois, and then to Denver, another spot in Denver, to Sunnyvale, California, Los Angeles, California, another spot in California, and then another spot in California. Those are all different routers that it takes for me in my location to get to lulzbot.com. And you'll see at the end there, the ending point is commerce.lulzbot.com. So you'll see it says trace complete. So from my starting point to lulzbot.com, these are all the different routers that it takes just for me to get to that website. And if you pull up this website, it's really quick. It does, it takes a long time to do a trace route. But if I were to open up my browser here, and wow, my computer's a little slow. I might have to fix that. But anyway, if I just type in lulzbot.com, hit enter, it's fairly quick to load. So there is definitely a big difference there from just doing a trace route to actually going to the website. But the trace routes are used for troubleshooting. So you can actually do this in your own network if you have a very complex network and you maybe have lots of different switches and things that you guys go through, or different locations where your servers may be in a different location or anything like that. You can do a trace route from your computer and type in your server name and say, you basically might already know the path that it's going to hit. Well, it's going to hit this switch, and then it's going to hop over to that switch, and then maybe it hits a couple more switches. Maybe you can't get to the server, right? You could do a trace route and you can determine, hey, maybe one of the switches is down, because when it gets to this switch right here or gets past this one here, it stops. It's done. So trace routes are very useful in just determining any type of connectivity issues. So it's highly used by networking associates. So if you're into networking and you don't know about Traceroute, or you want to get into networking, learn Traceroute. There's plenty of great videos out on YouTube about using Traceroute to its full potential. Let's move on to the next thing. In this next portion of the video, we need to run our command prompt as administrator. So I'm just going to go ahead over here. Oops, I'm going to type in CMD. I'm going to right click run as administrator. Yes, I want to run as a stupid UAC. I hate UAC. So anyway, we are in, let me close out our old command prompt here. We are in our command prompt as administrator. So the next thing that we are going to talk about is running programs as administrator from the command prompt. And this is actually something that I use very frequently at my current job, because it does allow you just some quick ability to run things that you may have to. You can run like DLL files as an administrator to register things, which is something that I do specifically. That's why I bring that up. You can also just run programs as administrator from the command prompt. And that really becomes useful if you are into more of a development role, such as doing Microsoft Deployment Toolkit things like that, which is really useful when we start making batch files, which we are going to talk about in our next video, which will also be our very last video on command prompt basics. So stay tuned for that one. But anyway, if we wanted to run a program as administrator, I'm kind of going to go over the actual like precise way of doing it, just so you guys know like kind of maybe the real way it should be done. There are different ways that you can accomplish this. There are so many different command lines that you can put in to accomplish the same thing, many different ways. But anyway, for this instance, we're just going to run Google Chrome as administrator. So what we're going to do is type in run as, and then space, and then I'm going to say profile, I'm going to say /profile, and then I'm going to say /user : administrator. And then we are going to type in, let's see, we're going to go space, C, : and then we can start tabbing if we wanted to find out what we're looking for. We're going to program files, yep, and then we're going to do / Google, and we can, of course, tab that. And then we want Chrome, and then we want a tab again because we want application, and then we want tab again because we want, I just passed it up, because we want chrome.exe. So once we get that, once we find out that full path of where this application is, we're just going to go ahead and hit enter. Now it wants the password for your administrator account. So if you have a local administrator account, there's where you would enter it. So if you are on a domain in your business environment where you do run as /profile /user : you would put in your administrator account. And that would be something like maybe let's say domain administrator at mywork.com, something like that, right? And then you would enter your administrator password if that's a kind of a network thing that you're doing. And that really applies to if you're on a domain, right? But we're doing things locally. But just keep in mind that if you are on a network, you're on a domain, you may need to use your network credentials or your network administrator login. So anyway, we're just going to type in our administrator password. When you type it in here, you don't get to see it, which is a really cool and frustrating thing about the command line, because maybe you like to see that you're typing in all of the characters in your password, but you don't get to see it. So you get a shot. It might tell you no. But anyway, hit enter, and Google Chrome launches as an administrator. You can use this for many different things. Maybe you need to run any type of command, like batch file something as administrator. Maybe you need to run another program as administrator. There's many different things that you may need this for. And once I get into it a little bit more in this next video on the batch files and things like that, it might make a little bit more sense. And hopefully we can cover the bases there. That video might actually run into 2 separate videos or 2 videos total, because there is a lot to talk about there. This is kind of nearing the end of the basics of the command line that you guys should know. If you have any questions about this video that I just did, please feel free to leave a comment below. I'll try to answer you guys the best that I can. Definitely stay tuned for the next video that I will be producing regarding the command line, where we talk about batch files, which I specifically use for Microsoft Deployment Toolkit. You can use them for many different things. There's a lot that you can do with it. And hopefully after that, we'll start getting into PowerShell. And the cool thing about PowerShell is pretty much whatever you can do in command prompt, you can also do in PowerShell. Pretty much the same exact formatting, which is really, really cool. And it becomes really convenient. So anyway, I appreciate you guys watching this video. Check out my old command line videos. If you guys have questions, comments, concerns, hit me up in the comments below. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. If you haven't already subscribed to me, please do so. I greatly appreciate it, and I love answering your guys' questions. Check out one of my weekly AMAs, where maybe I can answer one of your questions. Thank you so much for watching. Take it easy.